Freaky with Matthew Harris. He's taking a closer look at some of the wonderfully weird, gloriously geeky, and freaky things in our world.
Well, hi everybody. I've got to figure out how to remove this thing. Meredith, it's not disappearing for me. There we go. It's because I wasn't on the overlay area. What a week, folks. What a week. And it's only halfway through. But welcome to Geeky, Cheeky, and Downright Freaky. Tonight's show is actually going to cover two of those areas, or fall into two of those areas, the geeky and the downright freaky. And as the title card said, and as I advertised earlier, this is about UFOs and aliens and proof that they exist. And I'm not going to try to lie to you and say that I've got some groundbreaking news or new evidence, because what I'm going to show you and discuss today has been in front of us for a long time. Most recently, of course, is the videos that were declassified by the Pentagon and released by the Navy, which we had already seen them. If you follow the news, we've already seen them about 1.5 years, almost 2 years ago. And they released the whole videos due to Freedom of Information Act, and they said it was along the lines of to show that the videos weren't edited, that they were the complete videos that we had already seen. And if you haven't seen them, I am going to show them here in just a second. I do advise you, if you're listening in headphones, you might want to turn the volume down because it's real static, because this is communication between two Navy pilots. And then we're going to move in away from that. We're going to discuss some other things besides this. This was brought up 8 days ago when this was released or officially declassified, because like I said, it was released a while back. But we're gonna discuss a few things here. So stay tuned with me, and let's check out these videos real quick.
Nickel 6-1 Tango Project, over.
Oh, got it! Woohoo!
Roger, there's troubleshooting as soon as I
Did you box moving target?
No, I took an auto track.
Oh, okay.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Wow, look at it fly!
All right, and then we got this other one real quick.
Dude, this is a fucking drone, bro.
There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA.
My gosh.
They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at that thing, dude. That's not our LNS though, is it? It's not.
That is the LNS, dude.
Well, if there's like...
Look at that thing.
It's rotating.
All right, and so if you hadn't seen those videos already, they're pretty interesting for a couple of reasons. Because we're hearing the pilots discuss this in real time at the time that these were spotted. But it's also really unique, folks, because last week basically the Pentagon, by declassifying these, which they did acknowledge that these were legitimate 2 years ago when these came out, but they basically just announced, that yes, there are, or not basically, what they did is they announced that there are crafts that can fly over our country, not detected by radar and unstoppable. And so that in and of itself is disturbing, of course, but we've known this for years and years and years and years. It's just this is the first real official acknowledgement of it. But, that wasn't the big thing to me. And you'll probably find videos and articles, I'm sure, that discuss this very thing that I'm about to get into. Because like I said, I'm not giving anything that is just brand new information. This is something that hit me, and I wanted to share it with you all. some of you may have seen the recent Netflix documentary, Bob Lazar, Area 51 and Flying Saucers. Now, I've known about Bob Lazar for many years. He came out in 1989 as an anonymous source, revealed that he had been working in a little place known as S4, and it was just south of Groom Lake, which of course is Area 51. And he revealed that he had been working to reverse engineer extraterrestrial technology, specifically reverse engineering the alien craft's propulsion technology. And, according to Bob at the time, these spaceships were equipped with an antimatter reactor. And of course, this was 1989. We didn't have the internet the way that we know it now. And a lot of people, really latched onto what he said, and then a lot of people also just kind of brushed him off. And one thing that caught my attention at the time, and then 14 years later, it really caught my attention again, was that he mentioned what it was that powered these spacecraft, and that was element 115. Now, the periodic table at the time did not go show anything to do with element 115. You can see it's just not on here. This is from 1989, the periodic table. 115 was not around there. In fact, I believe it only went up to atomic weight 103. But so like I said, the general public mostly blew him off. And then in 2003, a joint team of Russian and American scientists at JINR, the Joint Institute for Nuclear Research, which was in Russia, they created a synthetic chemical element, and it was known as moscovium, I think is how you say it, or vium, and which of course has the atomic weight or the atomic number of 115. And the symbol MC on the periodic table, and which it's right here. And you can see it circled there on the updated periodic table. And so, well, you could say that was, coincidence, that of course, eventually there was going to be a 115. Well, the thing is if you scroll back to well, first you look at the element itself. It's extremely radioactive, and its most stable known isotope is moscovium 290, and it has a half-life of only 0.65 seconds, which means in just over a half a second, it reduces to half of its initial value. Well, you look back at Lazar's comments about element 115, and he said that it functions as a gravity wave generator, by being bombarded with protons. It excites the element and turns it into livermorium, which is element 116, actually. And livermorium's decay products include gravitons, or a pure gravity wave. And so 14 years 14 years after he told the world, and here's Bob Lazar, by the way, 14 years after he told the world about that UFOs were real, that we were reverse engineering them out near Groom Lake or Area 51, we learned that this element does exist. Now, you can say, well, again, this is just all conjecture, and he never called it out by name. Well, there's a lot more to it. Bob has told stories about how the government, tapped his phone lines, and the FBI has searched his home several times. When he was let go from this position within the S4, they had recordings that his then wife was cheating on him, and they cut back his work because they didn't know how that was going to affect his home life and if he was going to be revealing secrets. And so he got kind of worried about this, and he ended up taking friends out to areas because he knew the flight times, and they went out 3 nights in a row. Second night they got videotape of it, and the third night Bob was arrested. And then he, of course, was never returned to the Area 51. And then that shortly thereafter, that's when he went to a newscaster and did his interview revealing the secrets about Area 51, or what he knew about Area 51. And so bear with me just a minute, folks. We're going to take a quick break here, and then we'll come back. We're going to discuss a lot more of this about Bob Lazar, Area 51, and S4, and then, of course, the government acknowledging that UFOs are here, which we've kind of known all along.
We'll be back right after this.
Check it out. MobileEdge.com has award-winning products with innovative features and contemporary, edgy designs that empower you to look sharp and travel smart with your mobile tech. Your beloved, not to mention expensive gaming gear and mobile tech devices are an extension of you, so give them the protection and style they deserve wherever you go. Find them at MobileEdge.com and protect your tech with Mobile Edge. Bring it on. Hey Geek Insiders, Mobile Edge has a special coupon code for our dedicated listeners. Get 25% off your Mobile Edge gear using coupon code GEEK25. That's GEEK25. Geek out.
If you haven't already done so, folks, make sure you check out mobileedge.com, because we got some gear from them already. I can't wait to see the next things that we get, but they've got some really quality gear, and we're going to be giving a lot of it away in the coming weeks and months. But anyway, so back to Bob Lazar, and he was 30 years old at the time that he revealed all this, and his life has not been any sort of picnic since this. I mentioned a minute ago that he was being cheated on by his wife, and the government wouldn't even tell him. And then they did tell him when they fired him, just as a little extra kick in the teeth. But it was also rumored for a long time, and unfortunately I couldn't find downloadable versions of the interviews that Bob gave, but several times he has alluded to the fact that he got away with some of the Element 115. He's done sketches of the ships, of the technology. And the big thing is go back. If you haven't done so, watch the special or the documentary on Netflix, the Bob Lazar Area 51 and Flying Saucers, because it does break into not so much the latter stuff regarding when he got fired, but it does go into the technology and everything that he came across. And this was 1989, so we're looking at 30 years ago, and we've had the evidence in front of us all along that of course we've seen UFOs footage before. We have for decades or even centuries had photos of UFOs. They're grainy, but you even go back to Renaissance paintings, and there are plenty of examples where there are flying objects in the Renaissance paintings, and various other pieces of works of art. If I can get my damn tongue untied tonight, I'll be doing all right. But Bob was trying to tell us back then, that this was real. This is, he was a whistleblower. And of course we blew him off because they're just, that's what we've been programmed to do, is to blow these off. That's why a lot of the times you see, on the news, when somebody's reporting something, it's almost always seems like that they try to get the biggest redneck that they possibly can from the smallest trailer and the grimiest trailer park to say that they saw it, instead of speaking with people that, there's thousands of others, if not more, that witnessed it. Just like with the Arizona Lights, I can't think of the town, Phoenix Lights. You saw lots and lots of videos with the lights, and then we got given the stupidest damn excuses or reasonings for the lights. And then what did they do? The official gets up there and says that they found out the culprit, and it's somebody wearing an alien suit. And so they've been slowly feeding it to us, folks, that yes, there is something out there that is we don't know. And I really think that full disclosure is probably coming pretty soon. And with the way that politics has been going lately, and all of the kind of, watch this hand so you ain't seeing what this hand's doing, I wouldn't be surprised at all that we see some more. But I definitely suggest that you do do some reading about Bob Lazar. Check out about Element 115. And you can see these interviews for yourself. I really wish that they were public domain and that I could have pulled them up in here. But, just going by some of the screenshots that came off of those videos, there they are. You can see that, these were unknown craft to folks that are paid to identify threats to our country. And there has been so many instances, people, especially back during wartime, where these kind of craft would appear over our own bases. They would mess with our electronics, and, we had no control of it. And for the government to come out last week and say, yep, these are real, we have no idea what the hell they are, that, I don't say that it should scare everybody, but it should be very concerning, because oh man, I'm missing all the comments again. I've got to get used to looking at that comment side. I just get to talking and I never look, and all of a sudden there's 7 comments. Hey Kevin, I see that you're in there. Welcome. And Frank. Oh, my Aunt Debbie. Wow. But hello, everybody, and thanks for tuning in. And now I just lost my train of thought, because that happens. I swear I'm going to get used to checking the chat. I got Meredith in the back office. She's supposed to prod me on that stuff. I'm supposed to be putting them up on the screen and stuff. But she was eating pizza, and she might have fell asleep after getting full. So I don't know what she's doing back there. But let's see. So the whole deal with the UFOs and Area 51, we had the thing a few months ago where everybody was going to storm Area 51, and it would be silly, of course, for the government to actually have it in Area 51. And thanks, Meredith. I really needed that, guys. Thank you, Pat. I'll need to slaughter 7 monkeys to get that out of my face, or get that out of my mind. But anyway, Pat's flashing me in the background, folks, and it's not a pretty sight. I mean, I guess for some it's probably a pretty sight, and I have no room to talk because my belly is bigger and hairier, I think. But that's just not what I want to look backstage and see. Talk about a UFO, or I guess now, and that was the other thing I wanted to talk about. They're changing the name of UFOs to UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomenon. Now, what the hell is that? So they're going to say, yep, these exist, but they're not UFOs. They're UAPs. It's the same thing. Now, I know that, again, they show a lot of uneducated folks as being the ones that see UFOs. But do they really think that you're just going to say, oh, okay, it's not UFOs. It's UAPs, and so they're different. They're not from another planet. They're just flying critters up there that we can't catch. I don't know, but it makes no sense to me that to change the name but to admit that yes, there is something that we don't understand. And so again, that's huge. But like I said, the evidence has been in front of us all along. With Bob Lazar, he was the first whistleblower on this. He gave us evidence. And then the big thing is, folks, if you're telling a lie, you're going to slip up. Everybody knows this, and no matter how good of a liar you are, if you have to keep repeating the story, you're going to slip up. You're going to add in details. You're going to leave details off. And Bob has been consistent over the last 30 years, 40 years, whatever it is. Somebody do the math. 40 years. And so it's amazing to me that, there's still naysayers out there that blow him off, call him a hoax. You search his name on the internet, and some of the first ones are people that are trying to call him out as a hoax. And sure, I guess he could be. All the factors could be that he is a hoax, and he just got lucky with the 115, and that it happened to be super radioactive, and that you can hit it with protons, and that it's going to turn into element 116, and that its byproducts are going to give anti-gravity. He could have gotten lucky on all that. Maybe he's a really, really smart guy, but remember, he's not a chemist. He's not, any of those big, words that he had to spend years in school for that. He was an engineer, and he was there specifically, as from his words, that he was to reverse engineer the spacecraft. And he told us all about element 115. Now, I did a little research on the livermorium. It sounds like the weirdest damn thing ever. It's named livermorium because it was made in Livermore, California, I think is what it was. Liver something, California. But anyway, it is. They've only gotten just a few small samples so far, so they say. But it's awful funny that Russia and American scientists come up with it together 14 years after the fact, and then it has these strange properties that could possibly very well be utilized for anti-gravity. And so it will be really interesting to see if in the coming decade that we see some kind of vehicles that are operated by these. Do I want a mini nuclear reactor in my, under my butt? Probably not. And, it's just a matter of how safe it is. And I guess if these guys can get interdimensional or interstellar, then it must work some way. But if it's been 40 years and we still don't have them yet, or at least that we know of, then I don't know that we could ever reverse engineer it. And Frank, actually, I've got a friend of mine named Danny Power that grew up on the same street. And to this day, we both remember seeing the same UFO. I had another incident where one just came right over a cousin of mine and I. We were out in the woods doing things we wasn't supposed to be doing. It was late at night, but it came right over us, and it was completely silent, very huge. And so I've always had that belief. And then plus, if you just look at the math of the whole thing, folks, that's where it falls apart for me, is of the naysayers. Because if you just look at the math, we know that there's billions of stars out there and billions of planets, and just the math says that there's ones that are older, and so if you believe in evolution, that there's going to be other planets that have evolved intelligent life. If you're a creationist, then you believe that God. You really think God would just be content with watching us? He's God. He's seen our whole lives in the flash of an eye. He's got a billion planets to play with. So no, I don't think that we're alone in the universe. Never have thought so. But as I said at the top of the show, I really and truly think that this is the evidence that has been right in front of us all along, that we do have visitors here. Now, you can go and find a million videos out there about the lizard people and the various alien races that supposedly have visited us for hundreds of years, if not thousands, tens of thousands. And do I believe all of them? Of course not, man. But I do think that it's evident that we are being visited. The United States government has just admitted that at least there is these crafts that is no known government origin. We don't know the technology behind it. We can't replicate it at this point, and we can't catch these folks. And so, in other words, they could come over our country and do whatever they want at any time, and we would be powerless. If they were scared, then of course there would be a much tighter network. We would be, Trump's Space Force would be full on and full geared up, and they would be, patrolling the skies looking for these things. But it's like the ancient aliens have said, that TV show, they say that these folks have been malevolent and they have been a part of our history and a part of our evolution for decades or more than decades, centuries. And, I think that's probably stands to reason, or at least been watching us. You look up the Foo Fighters, not the band, the real Foo Fighters. Pilots saw these lights around them during war for years. And again, it was unexplainable movements. And, but that's, the true Foo Fighters are alien beings, or at least intelligence that we are just not capable of understanding at this point. Or if we are, the government has been keeping it from us. And that's a whole other tinfoil hat ball of wax. Because, if the government does know that they exist, do they know, or which we know that they know that they exist, they've told us, but do they know where they've come from? Are there communications back and forth? Did the government allow the cattle mutilations and all the abductions and anal probes and all of that stuff? The list goes on. And I don't know. Like I said a minute ago, of course, I don't believe all that stuff, but I do lend credence to Bob Lazar because, like I said, he's been consistent for 40 years. And with element 115, I guess I'm wanting some Weller 151 or something. But with that element right there coming up as 115, and it just so happens to be, nuclear, and that it could have the exact properties that Bob was talking about at that point. It just stands to reason if you use Occam's razor on this, folks. People always try to get, not philosophical, but just, the straight edge. If you try to get the easiest answer or the most obvious answer, that's the one it has to be. And if you look at this evidence, you look at the number of planets, the number of suns, the number of those that are in the, what do they call it, the perfect zone, I forget, the habitable zone. And you look at the thousands, if not millions, of reports and videos and, eyewitness accounts of UFOs, from credible sources, pilots, military personnel, and then of course, Jimmy down at the trailer park. But you just take all that together and you have to come to the conclusion that no, we're not alone. We are probably being visited. Now, the question that always gets me is, are they truly from another planet? Or are they interdimensional beings? Or are they from other planets and capable of some kind of just instantaneous travel? Because some of these ships damn sure don't look like they could be going from one solar system to another. It's just, it opens up a million and one other questions. But to me, the evidence has been here in front of us for 40 years, really longer. You step back and look at just the whole Roswell incident altogether. First, the government says that, yes, we've captured a ship. And then the next thing, oh, nope, it's a weather balloon. And it's just, more military shuffling and sidestepping. And Kevin, you said it says he, gotcha about God. It says he goes to 10 other sheep. Nobody ever said the other sheep are on this planet. Just saying. That's a very good point, sir. Very good point. Because, like I said, God would be kind of bored with us, I would think, at this point, especially with his screwed up as things are now. But anyway, this isn't a show about religion or God, but I just kind of went in there just because I wanted to cover both things. And I do happen to be a Christian. I have very strong Christian beliefs, but it doesn't faze me in the least. It doesn't shake my faith that there are other alien or other species out there, other intelligent life out there. It doesn't worry me in the least. And I don't know why the world leaders have said for years that, if this ever was released or revealed, I won't say released, if it was ever revealed that there was alien life visiting us, that world religion would fall apart. And I just don't see how that could happen. I do know that there's a shift away from religion these days. A lot of the younger generations, for one reason or another, just don't hold God to be real. And that's fine and dandy. I can live with that. I can debate with anybody. I'm not on religion, but because I'm just not a big Bible thumper. But I have my beliefs, you have your beliefs. But I do believe that in both, whether you believe in God or you don't believe in God, that there does have the possibility and the overall probability that life exists out there, and that it is visiting here if you look at the tapes from the government and you look at the evidence from Bob Lazar. And so that's going to do it for me tonight, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. Like I told you at the beginning, nothing brand new, groundbreaking, or anything like that. I just wanted to lay out some evidence before you, the periodic table and the videos, because this is some strange stuff and strange times going around. And it's really funny that, this kind of hit the news last week. The government says this, and then with the way that 2020 has been, we didn't even really hear nothing about it too much. Just, the government said that, yes, there are UFOs out here, but no big deal. Nothing to see here. Good night, everybody. Tune in next week. Not sure what I will be covering next week just yet, but I know Meredith and I tomorrow we are recording an interview with the director, or one of the directors of The Shivering Truth, which is will be premiering season 2 this Sunday night on Adult Swim, right after Rick and Morty at midnight Monday-ish. So Sunday night, Monday-ish. But anyway, so we'll have that tomorrow live, and then we'll be recording it for our podcast. And I'm going to say goodnight, everyone. I'll see you next week. And make sure you watch geekinsider.com, folks, because we got a lot of new stuff coming your way.
Thank you for tuning in to Geeky, Shaky, and Downright Freaky with your host, Matthew Harris. This is a Geek Insider podcast powered by NSC Live TV. Hit the subscribe button and follow us wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. We've also got advertising opportunities. For details, contact advertising@geekinsider.com. Once again, that's advertising@geekinsider.com.